Welcome to the F.E.A.R Chronicles, false evidence appearing real, where we are covering real stories for navigating burnout, bold moves, and becoming your best self. I'm your host, Natasha Agha, private practice strategist, mother of two, and recovering perfectionist. This is the space where we get honest about the pivots, the pressure, and the purpose behind it all. If you're navigating life transitions, career shifts, motherhood, or learning to trust yourself again, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Here for F.E.A.R Chronicles. I believe this is episode 7, so that's false evidence appearing real. So in this series so far, I've been sharing my journey from being a rehab director to private practice owner, then to everything that happened in between, and then after, I should say. So this is kind of the after, and we left off last week with essentially I closed my previous practice down and made an investment in myself, which was scary and exciting and all the things, but ultimately the best decision I'd ever made. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened after I took that leap and how even when my life was seemingly falling apart behind the scenes, I kept going because this is what I knew I wanted to do. So I made that decision to invest in that coaching program, and I thought, okay, I did it, right? Like I invested. And then I was like, I've got the tools, I've got the support, and I'm all in. And here's what no one really tells you is that, this kind of work, it's the pivot from running, a clinical practice to building an online business is a completely different level of work. I had questions running through my mind constantly, like, how was I going to take these years of experience, the lessons, the techniques, and actually turn it into a program that people could follow, and then, deciding what would I include, what would I leave out. And honestly, the tech and the templates was just a small part of it. The real work was the internal work. The doubt started to creep in, like I was getting overwhelmed with when things weren't going according to plan, and the mental load of rebuilding while also trying to hold the pieces together of my personal life in the process. It was difficult, and I leaned heavily into there's a section, a pretty small one, but a section in that coaching program around mindset, and I gravitated to that because while I was building the tech and the strategies to create my program, that the mindset was what really determined, how I was going to keep going when things got messy, and it really got messy at times. So because I invested in both myself, both financially and emotionally with this process, I made sure that I utilized every single, tool that was available to me. So that was the tech tools, the coaching calls, and the community support that was provided within that program, and it helped me to really stay accountable, and stay focused and, keep the timeline that I was working towards. And you know what? Within a year, I had the first iteration of my program created, and the platform was built, my pillars were in place. I collapsed time, and something that would have easily taken me 3 times, if not more, to do that. I If I tried to do it by myself, which I initially tried. So, um, because I'm a researcher, I love to learn and I will research something until I decide. That's how I make decisions. I like to say it, to make informed decisions. And I would have likely procrastinated, second guessed everything, and maybe never would have really pulled the trigger had I not invested. And so along this journey, I kept learning because I wanted to learn more because this was all new to me. So I attended workshops, different master classes, because the online world was completely new to me, at least in this aspect. Um, After just years of just direct client care. So something unexpected happened, and I discovered a particular coach that really resonated with me through this process. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to work with her, But I also told myself, not yet. I got to finish the program that I'm in right now. I've got a lot on my plate. And deep down, I knew that the program that I was in, which was the one building, helping me build the program, um, was just like the tip of the iceberg. There was more work ahead, but just beyond building a course. Like I felt this deep in my gut. Like I was like, yes, I'm doing this, but there's more. There's more. Um, as far as like the life I wanted to create for myself, because this wasn't just a pivot professionally, this was a pivot for me like across the board. I wanted to create essentially a new life for myself. There was pieces that I wanted to improve and I wasn't sure how to go about that. So I was excited, building, learning, and behind the scenes, my life was not what I wanted it to be. Things were moving forward and with me professionally and a lot of creative work, which I found really, really just invigorating. Um, Behind the scenes, my personal relationships were really strained. My finances were a mess. Uh, and as a mom, I wasn't showing up as my best self, and I felt like I was barely holding it together, and even though I was building this new business, I was excited, but I was drowning a little bit. And what I can tell you is this, what I learned on this journey thus far that we've gotten to was that, collapsing time is possible because I did by investing in myself. And that the investment, any investment that you make in yourself is always worth it, always worth it. And then things kind of came together in really an unexpected way. It had to do with an online summit that I attended and a birthday celebration. And this is what ends up sparking the next part of my journey, but that's a story for next time. So again, because I don't want these to get extra long. So thank you for being here and letting me share this part of my journey and essentially this entire journey with you. Um, just know that if you take anything away from all of the little golden nuggets that I'm sharing is that, you're never too far gone to make a pivot in any aspect of your life, and that you don't have to figure it out alone, although a lot of times we feel that way, that it's our own internal struggle. And sometimes the universe is just waiting for you to say yes so it can show you the next step. And that's what I'll share next time. So that'll be on episode 8 of the F.E.A.R Chronicles. And I hope to continue these live. Instagram just told me that you have to have a certain amount of followers in order to do lives going forward at whatever that time frame is. I don't know. So follow me so I can continue live. Otherwise, I'll record them and still post them because I can't just leave you hanging without the rest of the journey because the most recent is the best part. So if my story does resonate with you and you're thinking about your own pivot or just feeling like you're stuck in your practice, I'd love to connect. So, you can shoot me a message anytime. And I'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining me on the F.E.A.R Chronicles. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to like, comment, or share with someone who needs it. Want more support? Check out the links below for free resources, workshops, and how to work with me. Remember, bold moves start with small shifts. You've got this, and I've got you.